think it's just something different. I mean, there's a lot of truckers around, but they're mostly doing.
What if the fan favorite from ice road truckers vanished without a trace? Lisa Kelly became a legend. One of the only female drivers willing to risk her life on the deadliest roads on Earth. Most fans think she quietly left the spotlight, but the truth is far more chilling. Rumors of a tragic accident, a rescue gone wrong, and a remote crash site have sparked endless speculation. I've dug through everything. Interviews, reports, even behind-the-scenes footage, and what I found changes everything. So in this video, I'll walk you through what really happened to Lisa Kelly and reveal why she might still be missing. What if the toughest person on the road wasn't a grizzled veteran or a burly man, but a young woman from Alaska who stared down death with nothing but determination and a steering wheel? That was Lisa Kelly, and when she first appeared on Ice Road Truckers, viewers couldn't believe their eyes. Raised on a remote farm in Sterling, Alaska, Lisa didn't grow up like most girls. While others were playing dress-up, she was racing motocross, skydiving, and hang gliding. She wasn't chasing attention. She was chasing adrenaline. But here's where it gets interesting. After one semester of college, Lisa walked away from it all. No safety nets, no backup plans. She grabbed a bus driving license and started hauling fuel and supplies through some of the roughest terrains in Alaska. Nobody expected her to last. But that's when Lisa decided to prove everybody wrong. But that's not all. In 2009, she joined Ice Road Truckers in its third season, instantly grabbing attention as the only female driver. The icy roads of Canada and Alaska were brutal, but Lisa made them look like a playground. While others doubted her, she was steering 100-foot pipes across frozen oceans. And viewers couldn't look away. Lisa wasn't just surviving out there, she was dominating. And that's just the beginning. Keep watching, because the roads ahead get far more dangerous, and Lisa's story takes a shocking turn. She was supposed to be just eye candy. That's what the producers actually told her. But Lisa Kelly didn't flinch. She didn't rage. She simply got behind the wheel and let her driving do the talking. When Lisa stepped into that cab on the Dalton Highway, she wasn't just driving a truck, she was shattering a stereotype. In a male-dominated industry, Lisa was dismissed before she even started. "You're just here for ratings," they said. "You won't last." But what happened next silenced the critics. She made 149 back-to-back crossings between Fairbanks and Prudhoe Bay, hauling massive loads over thin ice and unstable terrain. Each crossing was a gamble with death. And Lisa won, every time. But listen to this. Even after those record-breaking runs, the online hate rolled in. Trolls called her a dumb blonde, ripped her apart for every little mistake, and forgot there was a human being behind the camera. Lisa didn't cry out for sympathy. She kept driving. She said, "I'm not trying to be better than the boys. I just want to do my job." That quiet strength earned her respect, but it came at a cost. Hold that thought, because it connects to something even deeper. Lisa wasn't just fighting icy roads. She was battling an industry, public scrutiny, and the crushing weight of being the face of female truckers in America. And her next challenge would test more than her driving. It would test her soul. Imagine standing on the edge of a mountain pass. Nothing but ice under your tires and a 1,000-foot drop beside you. That's the kind of danger Lisa Kelly faced day in and day out. And somehow, she made it look easy. After dominating the Dalton Highway in Alaska, Lisa didn't slow down. In seasons 4 and 5 of Ice Road Truckers, she pushed even harder, taking on supply runs to remote communities across Canada. She hauled supplies through places like Red Sucker Lake and Victoria Beach. Areas so isolated, most truckers wouldn't even consider the route. But Lisa didn't blink. She kept climbing into that cab, cranking the engine, and chasing whatever road dared to test her limits. But here's where it gets wild. When the Alaskan roads weren't enough of a challenge, Lisa signed up for Deadliest Roads, a spin-off that threw drivers onto the treacherous trails of the Himalayas. Narrow paths, sheer cliffs, reckless traffic, and no safety rails. Most drivers didn't make it past the first week. Lisa not only survived, she conquered. She became the only North American to complete the entire journey through India's death roads. And just when you think it couldn't get crazier, she looked toward Bolivia's infamous death road in the Andes. Now here's the twist. Her truck broke down in a Salt Lake crossing, and she had just minutes to fix a busted water hose before a deadly sub-zero night fell. One slip, and it was over. But Lisa pulled through, because that's who she was: fearless, focused, and always chasing the edge. Stick with me, because the cracks are about to show, and even legends like Lisa aren't invincible. You can outrun danger. You can dodge death. But there's one thing even Lisa Kelly couldn't escape: loneliness. Behind the roar of engines and the glare of reality TV lights, Lisa started feeling a different kind of weight. Not on her back, but in her chest. She admitted in a 2013 interview that the solitude of life on the road, once peaceful, had turned into silence that was too loud to ignore. Driving for hours on frozen highways with nothing but her thoughts and the sound of tires on ice, Lisa began to drift into emotional exhaustion. But here's where it gets darker. Even while battling brutal conditions, she was being pushed to perform, not just as a driver, but as a character. Producers wanted drama. They encouraged her to stage close calls, say scripted lines, and act for the sake of tension. One time, she was told to drive over a deliberately weakened patch of ice, just to make a scene more intense. What happened next? A real castmate fell through that very same spot. But that's not all. Lisa began suffering panic attacks. She described moments where she couldn't breathe, where the cameras felt like they were suffocating her. She said her life no longer felt like her own. She wasn't just driving anymore. She was performing. And it was eating her alive from the inside out. Hold that thought, because her breaking point was still to come. And when it did, it would shake everything around her. You can only carry so much before something snaps. For Lisa Kelly, that moment came in silence. Not with a crash or a scream, but with a quiet decision to step away. In 2012, fans were stunned when Lisa suddenly disappeared from ICE Road Truckers in Season 6. Rumors exploded online. Was she fired? Did she have a falling out with producers? Was something more tragic going on? But here's the truth. Lisa had hit a wall. The nonstop grind of filming both ICE Road Truckers and Deadliest Roads had left her physically and emotionally wrecked. She later admitted in an interview that trying to juggle both shows was crazy and hectic. And the cost? Her peace, her freedom, her mental health. But listen to this. Behind the cameras, Lisa was also mourning the death of her close friend and longtime hauling partner, Daryl Ward. He died in a plane crash in 2016, and it rocked her world. They'd logged thousands of miles together, shared jokes, stories, and near-death experiences. Without him, the ice roads felt colder than ever. The show wanted Lisa back, but Lisa needed time to grieve, to breathe, to figure out who she was outside of TV. And that's just the beginning. Because the real reason Lisa stepped away wasn't just loss. It was also about control, reclaiming her narrative, protecting her soul, and refusing to be reduced to a TV trope. Stick with me, because in the next section, Lisa's silence begins to speak louder than any episode ever aired. When Lisa Kelly vanished from the screen, most fans assumed she was taking a break. But the silence stretched on, and suddenly, that silence started to feel like a message. Lisa wasn't just stepping away from a show. She was escaping a system that had slowly chipped away at her spirit. She'd spent years as the face of female toughness, the woman who could handle the roughest roads and the worst weather. But off camera, she was drowning. She began speaking openly in interviews about how the constant pressure to be strong, to be inspirational, was crushing her. She felt like she had to represent all women in trucking every single time she got behind the wheel. And that kind of weight, it wears you down. But here's where it gets even more revealing. Lisa admitted that reality TV had turned her into a 2D character. People no longer saw her. They saw the ice road queen. She described how she couldn't even walk into a store without someone asking why she wasn't smiling more. Her response? Because the road is trying to kill me. It sounds like a joke, but it was the truth. The performance had become her prison. And that's when things shifted. Lisa started pulling back, not out of weakness, but out of self-preservation. She wanted her life back. and she was willing to disappear from fame to find it. Hold on, because in Chapter 7, we'll uncover where Lisa really went and what she found waiting for her beyond the ice. When Lisa Kelly stepped away from television, she didn't hold a press conference. She didn't post a dramatic farewell. She simply disappeared into the snow. And for the first time in years, she could breathe. She returned to Wasilla, Alaska, where a quiet life waited. No cameras, no scripts, just her husband Travis, a motorcycle mechanic, and their small ranch filled with rescue horses and pets. Lisa had always said she felt more at home around animals than people. And now, she finally had the chance to live that truth. She cared for miniature horses, spent time riding through the open fields, and started healing. Not just physically, but emotionally. But listen to this. Even in peace, the weight of her past didn't disappear. Lisa admitted that the online harassment had left scars. Trolls still dissected her every post. Strangers judged her, praised her, insulted her, all while knowing nothing about the woman behind the wheel. Producers had called her eye candy. Fans had put her on a pedestal. But in the quiet of her ranch, Lisa began asking, was she ever truly seen? And yet, she didn't retreat completely. She attended truck shows, connected with fans, and even lent her voice to Alaskan road truckers. She never stopped caring about the industry, but she refused to give all of herself to it ever again. Hold tight, because in Chapter 8, Lisa finds herself at the center of a much bigger conversation, one that could change the future of trucking forever. Lisa Kelly thought she was just walking away from the spotlight. But what she didn't realize, she was starting a movement. After her quiet departure, something unexpected began to happen. Stories started surfacing, truckers, especially women, sharing how Lisa inspired them to pursue their CDLs, to challenge workplace bias, to simply believe they belonged. She wasn't just a TV figure anymore. She had become a symbol of grit, of endurance, of refusing to break under pressure. But the industry? It still hadn't caught up. Now here's where it gets real. Lisa began speaking out about the glaring gaps in the trucking world. No proper support for women, no accommodations, barely any respect. She called out how hard it is for women to even enter the field, let alone survive it. And her story of burnout, isolation, and the pain behind the cameras became the emotional blueprint for a much bigger conversation around mental health and trucking. But wait, this next part will surprise you. Lisa never asked to be an activist. She didn't want to be the face of change. Yet her honesty, her willingness to say, "I'm not okay," cracked open a space that didn't exist before. Trucking conferences started citing her story. Mental health resources began popping up with her name as inspiration. Even her quiet interviews were being quoted in articles and training workshops. She left the road, but her legacy started carving a brand new path. And in Chapter 9, we'll see just how deeply she impacted a generation and what she lost in the process. Being the face of a movement sounds powerful until you realize the crown can crush you. That's exactly what happened to Lisa Kelly. While fans hailed her as a pioneer and role model, Lisa was dealing with something darker behind scenes. She'd spent years holding it all together, navigating icy roads and icy stairs, pretending to be unshakable while pressure closed in from every side. On screen, she was fearless. Off-screen, she was unraveling. But here's where the story turns tragic. Lisa confessed that even after the cameras stopped, she still felt trapped in the role TV had built for her. She said she couldn't go anywhere without someone projecting their version of her onto her. "They don't see me. They see who they want me to be," she said. The road, which once gave her freedom, had become a prison of expectations. It gets worse. After Ice Road Truckers ended in 2017, Lisa hoped the chaos would end with it. But instead, the emptiness hit even harder. She missed the rhythm of trucking, the purpose of it, but not the constant eyes on her. She tried to find fulfillment through horse rescue, fan meetups, and short-hauling gigs, but nothing truly replaced the adrenaline or the connection. It left her stuck between two worlds, one that no longer fit and another that had moved on without her. Still, she pushed forward. She never stopped showing up at fan expos, never stopped mentoring women in trucking. But behind every smile was a tired warrior asking, "When is it my turn to just rest?" And in Chapter 10, we'll finally ask the question everyone's been afraid to say out loud. Did the ice roads take more from Lisa than they ever gave? When Lisa Kelly vanished from the screen, it wasn't dramatic. No season finale farewell. No tearful goodbye. Just a quiet exit, like headlights fading into the dark. But what she left behind was anything but quiet. Lisa didn't die, but something did. The unstoppable force we saw navigating frozen cliffs and deadly drop-offs. She chose peace over pressure. The woman who once whispered that she couldn't breathe under the weight of fame now found herself finally exhaling far from the noise. She retreated to her ranch in Wasilla, surrounded by rescue horses and a life stripped of spectacle. But that silence? It was powerful. You won't believe this. Years after the show ended, her fans never stopped looking for her. Forums lit up with questions. Where's Lisa? Why did she disappear? Is she okay? Some feared tragedy. Others feared burnout. The truth? Lisa had nothing left to prove. She didn't need a camera to validate her grit. She'd lived through what most wouldn't dare attempt. And in the end, she chose sanity over celebrity. Her story became a mirror. It reflected our obsession with strong women and our failure to protect them. Lisa Kelly broke ground, inspired thousands, and then walked away before the road broke her. Her voice now echoes not through reality TV, but in mental health panels, trucker forums, and the quiet strength of women who followed in her path.